So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too it was so much fun. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I listened again. Ooh.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to,
Dude. Where are you what are you trying to do to me?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all.
Yeah,
is this the story?
right.
I don't think so.
It's
I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office
Is this
building.
where you catch rare Pokemon?
Is that correct? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
This is the way we went on the first one. Alright, dude.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Gotta clear that internet browser. History. I keep saying browser, I meant history.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
That now has the fence around it. And it does not. I'll go this way.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
What's this way, though? I'm back on track. There's nowhere for me to go.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
I totally don't want to go to my boss's office, because I know what happens when you go that way.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No, I didn't. I went downstairs.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
I am crazy.
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
Like I'm going to circles.
For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
I'm dreaming.
This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
I've asked this like 5
Now
times
the voice was
already.
describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago?
Yeah.
How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. He thought to himself, I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
And we're awake. Awesome.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
No. How does this even happen? How does this even happen?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Gotta clear that internet history. Okay. This is different. This is definitely different.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So if I don't listen to you at all...
This was not the
At
correct
all.
way to the
No,
meeting room,
it's not.
and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Not at all.
Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley but eager to get back to business,
Leaving.
Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, I didn't. I went to the right. Or, well, actually, in the front.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Not jumping off.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
This is from the first
I'm not
one.
your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
By now, I think we realize
This
that
is it,
her
Stanley.
is his wife.
Your chance to
Stanley's.
redeem yourself. To put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one.
Hello? Are you there?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on.
Heck are
Did you
doing?
actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Dude, get the chick from iRobot out of here and maybe I'll come...
This is a very sad
have
story about the
friends?
death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
I'm gonna press T. No.
Look at him
Press
there,
R.
pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
No click. Any other button but J. And now J. You leaving me hanging? Yo. Hello. Hey, where's he at?